Hey guys, I'm here tonight with my Boxycharm unboxing. It's late and it's getting a little loud in the house, so please forgive that. But I was really excited to open this month's box and create this look for you today. I share a few tips and tricks along the way and also talk about a few brushes that I enjoy. If you are interested in seeing what was in this month's Boxycharm or seeing how I created this look, then just keep watching. So I went ahead and threw on the Elemis Superfood Vital Veggie Mask. And what Elemis says on the card here is, get a shot of green goodness with this treatment mask that nourishes, smooths, and brightens for softer, smoother, more radiant skin. And this has a value of $35. And right away, I already can tell that my skin feels a little bit more nourished and hydrated. And this is coming at a great time because I just tried out a clay mask from another box. It was like a brightening clay mask, and it totally sucked everything out of my skin, good and bad, I think. But I had used that, and ever since then my skin's just felt kind of angry and dehydrated, so this should be really nice. It has a smell almost like ginger and turmeric. If you guys have ever used the Core Organics exfoliating mask brightening one, that one actually does have little scrubbers in it, but I don't mind that one as much. So that one, it has that very ginger turmeric smell to it. This smells very similar. And this says it has avocado and broccoli seed oils. It's rich in omega fatty acids to support the skin's moisture barrier. Vitamin C and passion fruit acids help brighten for fresh looking complexion. So this just says remove after 10 minutes with a damp cloth, and I will go ahead and do that. I will jump into the rest of my face, get the rest of my face done, and then we'll use what was left in the box to create our look. All right, so I'm back, and I just threw on a little bit of concealer and some powder foundation, and then my eyebrows. And for this video, let's just pretend like I don't have about 3 days worth of eyebrow gel in my brows. I was using the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel, and I haven't used that one in a long time because I've been using the Benefit one, and I forget how much product gets loaded onto that brush. So yeah, I've got 3 or 4 days worth of brow gel going on in my brows, so we're just gonna pretend like that didn't happen. I just wanted something nice and light to get going on everything else that's left in our box. So this is the Butter London Natural Goddess palette, and I'm really excited for this. This palette looks so pretty and kind of a different vibe than what we've been seeing a lot of lately. Let me show you guys so you can see. If we go right there, we've got these beautiful kind of sandy, almost into a little bit of rose gold. We have a muted olive, and then these 4 are all your shimmer shades, and then you've got 2 mattes, a beautiful brown, I would say that's more like a neutral brown, almost on the cool side of brown, and then this beautiful turquoise. So this is going to be a lot of fun to play with today, and we will use that. We also have an eyelash curler. We have the Pure Eyelash Curler, which I'll be excited to play with. I like the little oil slick rainbow shade, but to be honest, it doesn't have much squeeze to it. When I get it closed, I already feel there's not much give to it. I almost would have to squeeze it even tighter, but we'll see. It feels, I don't know, it feels a little bit cheap. I'm using the Tweezerman one right now, so I'll compare that to this. If you guys can see, I don't know if you'll even be able to see that. It actually looks a little crooked. Yeah, it is. This side is a little lower, so I have a feeling I'm not going to be super happy with this, but we will give it a go. And I'm going to create a little eye look with this, do a little bit of a quick tutorial. I really enjoy tutorials here on YouTube. I feel it's something that, please excuse, the house is cray right now. We've got people upstairs talking, the dog's going crazy. This is just my life, so we're gonna go through it. But as I was saying, I really enjoyed YouTube tutorials. That was one of the things that I loved, just getting some ideas and some inspiration. So I hope you guys enjoy me just kind of doing a little download on what I'm doing with the palette. Again, I'm just going to be kind of playing. I haven't even used this palette before, but I just really miss the days of getting to sit down and watching a tutorial rather than just a review. So I'm trying to do a little bit of all. And then we did get 3 brushes from Luxie in our box this month, and I love Luxie brushes. I'm really excited. We got a foundation brush, a precise crease, and a large blending brush. So we've gotten lots of Luxie brushes from Boxycharm before, and here are our 3 brushes. I've enjoyed all of the brushes that I've gotten in the past. The ones that I originally got from Luxie, I did go and purchase a set directly from the Luxie website. I also have gotten some through other boxes, so I really appreciate these. So we will definitely use this little precision brush. I love little flat shader brushes like this for especially for packing on shimmer shades, and since these are synthetic brushes, they're also going to be really great for creams, just because I prefer to use synthetic for creams just because they're a lot easier to wash. And then this is one humongous, I mean, I guess that's a crease brush if you have like really big eyeballs, but this will be good for like sweeping shadow all over, although I don't think any of these shades are something that I would want to use that for. And then you have a flat foundation brush. In all honesty, I will probably use this for skincare. If I had realized that this was in the box, I probably would have applied that mask with it. I'm not a big fan of flat brushes for applying foundation, unless you really enjoy a more heavy coverage. I find that you're going to get that from this rather than like a brush where you're buffing in. This lays on the product, so you'll get a much heavier coverage, or like a fuller coverage if that's what you're into. So I will try to use, I for sure will be able to use this one. We'll try to go ahead and go through this one as well, but I'll grab a few other Luxie brushes so you guys can see. Okay, so here are some of my other Luxie brushes from my personal collection. This one I used this morning, so it's a little bit dirty. I'll probably reuse it again. That's reality, so I'll probably use it right now. But this will give us a little bit more to work with within this. I need more eye brushes than that. I am a collector of eye brushes. How about you guys? Are you a collector of brushes? That's one of my favorite things. So if you love eye brushes, especially just as much as I do, give me a little wave down in the comments, because I did use that powder foundation. I do have my lids powdered. We could go ahead and go straight in with our shadows. So I'm going to start with this. This is actually a concealer brush, and I find that a lot of times some of the brushes that I prefer to put lid shades on are concealer brushes. They're just a little bit more densely packed, and this one I like the angle of because you can get a little bit more precise. So we're going to take Queen, or we're going to dig our nail into Star, or maybe a little bit of both. We're going to take Queen and put that all over the lid. And I do have concealer on my eyelids, so just enough to kind of like cancel out any veins or anything before I put the powder foundation over the top. Anytime I'm using a powder foundation, obviously I go through with the concealer first and conceal any areas that I want to, and then I just buffed right over the top of that with my powder foundation. This is a really pretty color. It's like kind of a coppery rose, kind of like a coppery, I wouldn't say rose gold, but I would say like I'm just gonna keep saying coppery, aren't I? It's coppery, let's just go with that, but not like, it's a more subtle copper. This color is going to look so good on you if you have blue or green eyes. So you can see these are some really pigmented shades, very pretty. Okay, if all of the shadows in this palette perform like this one, I'm gonna be so happy. So then we're gonna take this humongous brush. This is the large eye blending brush, large being the key word here, and just blend that out a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're using this like for an all over the lid, or just to like, if you are having a day where you're just gonna do like a one shadow look, you could certainly do that. And I'm sorry, I'm losing my light already, so this is not going to be quite as well lit as what I would like it to have been. So that is a very, very pretty shade. And then I'm going to take it, actually, because I've got my like Hustle sweatshirt on, it kind of like brings in those tones. I mean, this is rose gold, so I guess I'm gonna go with a coppery rose gold to describe Queen. That's a very pretty color. And then I'm going to take that small precision crease brush and use Enchantress, which is that first shade, that more like, I would say, champagne-y shade, and just put that in the inner corner. And I just want to use it on its own just to see the pigmentation. I don't know if it's the brush or if it's this shade, but it's not picking up like quite as well. Just to give us a little bit in that inner corner. This is actually going to be a really great inner corner brush. I had a lip brush. It might have actually even been a Luxie one, but I had a lip brush that I loved using for my inner corner. Like almost every day, it was the perfect size, and I don't know where it is. Like, do you ever do that? Like, okay, that brush has to be somewhere. I don't know if it like rolled off a countertop when I was washing brushes one day or something, but it is nowhere to be found now, and I am very sad about it. So we've got just a little bit of that Enchantress on the lid, on the inner part of the lid, and that actually is, it's coming up a little bit more golden than I thought it would on the eye, and I'm just using that first brush to just blend that in a little bit. So I think that those colors are really pretty. And then I'm gonna just take a big fluffy brush and just barely dip into Temptress, which is that kind of like dark chocolate shade, and focus it right on the outer corner. So especially the first time that I'm working with a color or like a shadow formula, I always place my brush in the area that I'm okay with having the darkest amount of pigment, like the most color, the most pigment, because that's where the first place you touch your brush is going to be the darkest spot. So anytime I am going to be going through, I just always like to hit that spot that I am okay with it being the darkest, and then I can blend through once I get some of that product off of my brush. And I usually start with my fingers a little bit closer to the base of the brush for control. And then when I'm wanting to blend it out, I move a little further out on the brush handle just so that I don't have quite as much pressure, and so that I'm able to get a lighter feel. Now, one thing that I will say is this palette doesn't have any transition shade in it. Like, I would like to have seen, I mean, I get that we've only got 6 colors in here and everybody has transition shades at home. That's probably why they decided not to do that. But because of that, I probably would not take this to travel with unless I was taking another small palette of some sort, because it's going to limit you, because you don't have anything. You don't have like a light creamy shade or like a skin tone shade, whatever your skin tone may be, and then like a mid-tone to be able to have to soften a look. So now that I've got that darker Temptress shade, I'm just going to blend all of that together using that big, large eye brush. I know that I was knocking this brush, but I do actually see it being a really good like blend out brush. And just running that up through the look. So you guys can see we've just got that nice, really blown out look, and you're gonna be able to get a little bit more control if you go in first with a smaller brush, lay down your darker colors, and then you can blend them out. So I always like to have 2 brushes for darker shades. a smaller one that gives me more control to lay down that color, and then a little bit larger, fluffier one to be able to blow that out if I'm looking for like a more diffused look. So another brush that I can't really live without is a nice small detail or small pencil brush. This is another Luxie brush. This is the mini flat angled brush. So it's actually a tiny rounded flat brush with a little bit of an angle. So this is almost like a pencil brush on steroids. And what I find is this is great for when you're looking for very precise work underneath the eye. If you use a regular pencil brush, it's going to blow that out a little bit more and diffuse it more, just because you're going to get the tip that will place the color, and then as you're blending to move that around, it gets more diffused. But because this is flat, we'll be able to get a lot of pigment on to the area that we're working with. So I'm going to take that star shade, which is that, like I said, kind of like a dusty muted olive, and place that on the brush, tap off the excess, and pack that underneath the lower lash line. I think this color it's like soft, like subtle, but also impactful. If you guys can see that, it's really pretty. And that got, you might not be able to see with the lights quite as much, but it really did leave a lot of pigment, as opposed to like a pencil brush sometimes just like blurs it out too much. So again, I'm just tapping and stamping that color on. And stamping your color is going to give you a little bit more control and less fallout than going through and running back and forth. So I always prefer to use like a patting and pressing motion. And then once I have that color in place, then I can kind of go through and sweep once the loose shadow, like once all of that shadow dust is off of the brush, because if you've got a lot of loose shadow on there, that's gonna fall off and then you'll get a bunch of fallout. So always just like press and pat, and then once that's in place and you don't have a lot of excess shadow, then you can kind of go back and forth. So I'm gonna just go through with Temptress, that dark brown, and just pop a little bit more of that on the outer corner. And then I'm gonna take my finger into Queen, that's that first lid shade that we had, and just press a little bit onto the lid. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take the Luxie flat definer brush, and I'm gonna use this in that Temptress shade just to pack a little bit of shadow right next to my lash line. Just on the outer like third of my eye. And all I'm doing here is just taking that brush, giving a little tap. So almost more of like a press, press, press than a swipe, swipe, swipe. More of a press, press, press than a swipe, swipe, swipe. Okay, so our eye look is complete. And now we're just gonna go through and do lashes and mascara. I'm gonna be honest, I have zero hopes for this like lash curler. Like, let me see what they say that the cost of this would be. So the Pro Eyelash Curler is supposed to be $18. I would not pay $18 for this. By the way, that eyeshadow palette is $32. That's kind of a higher price for just 6 shades, but they are pretty big pans. So, and it's performed really well so far. So I'll let you guys know in the description bar how these lasted, and I'll play with it over the next couple days. It's always hard when you are using something for the first time, but I have zero complaints on any of the shades that I used. But this eyelash curler, yeah, see there's nowhere to squish, and so they're not even like really getting curled. I don't know. And it feels very cheap, like it almost like, not to be a whiner, but it almost like hurts my fingers to close. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put on some mascara and come back to use our final product. Okay, so the lash curler did better than I thought it really did. It did curl them okay, but it really feels very cheap, and it isn't comfortable to hold. So I will probably keep it on backup for in case something happens to my other one, or maybe it'd be a good one to travel with that I don't have to worry about crushing in a bag. But I certainly would not buy that lash curler. So I just threw on a couple coats of mascara, obviously, and then now we're gonna go ahead and use our final product. And this one I'm really excited about because this is one of the Ofra Long Lasting Liquid Lips. And I have been using Ofra liquid lips for a long time. They were really one of the first matte liquid lips that I ever used, and in all honesty, one of the only ones that I would ever use anymore, because I don't really wear liquid lips, like as far as like a matte finish, that often. Usually I just don't love a matte look, but these are a very comfortable matte. These liquid lips do have a fairly good dry down. They're not 100% budge proof, but that's what makes them a little bit more comfortable. So they are a little bit more dry than my favorite liquid lip is probably the ColourPop Ultra Satins, but this is more matte, but also a little bit more budge proof than that. So I don't have this color actually. This is the color in Santorini. It looks like this beautiful berry shade, and I think it might have a little bit of violet micro shimmer in it, so that'll be fun to play with. I don't necessarily think it goes that great with the eye look that I just put on. Should have probably thought about that a little bit more, but I'm okay with like mixing and matching colors, so we'll go ahead and put some of this on. I do have a little bit of lip balm on. My lips right now actually are like kind of textured just from the summer heat and probably not drinking enough water, so I just needed that little bit of hydration. Oh yeah. The color of this, ooh, I love this. Again, green-eyed people, you got to get yourself a lipstick this color. So this reminds me, the color of this reminds me, let me just finish putting on my lipstick and then I'll tell you what it reminds me of. I love this color. So this color reminds me of the Rabbit from ColourPop, which is probably my all-time favorite ultra satin lip color. This one is a little bit thinner, and I want to say a little bit more sheer, but not in a bad way, just in like a different formula. This almost has that little slight metallic, but not super metallic. I can zoom in. So it's not so metallic that it's going to make your mouth look really like aged, because anytime you wear something like really metallic, it makes your lips look super crusty. But it's enough that it gives it a little bit of sheen. I think it's very pretty and it feels really comfortable on the lips. So the Ofra liquid lips are retailed at $20 a piece. Usually you can find coupon codes or they have sales on the Ofra website. Ofra is also available online at Ulta. So hands down, the two products that made the box for me this month are the lipstick and the palette. I think I'm really going to get, honestly, a lot of use out of each of these. And if you look at it, the lipstick is worth $20, which is basically the box value right off the bat. And then this palette at $32 for me is almost just like an in. I like the mask, actually. I didn't even update you guys on that. I did feel like my skin was a little bit calmed and hydrated, so it felt like a little bit tingly, and my skin was a little bit red when I wiped it off, but almost just more like an invigorated way, not like in an irritated way, like almost like there was just like some more blood flow to my skin. So I will definitely use this more. Hopefully this will help me get over that clay mask that I used. And in all honesty, the brushes, like I love Luxie brushes. I just wish that the foundation brush was a different brush, just because I don't prefer to use a flat foundation brush, but I'm sure, like I said, I'll use it for skincare in the future. So the brushes are really great, and hopefully that was helpful to see some other Luxie brushes that I enjoy using. I really think that they're a very nice, affordable brand. I would say they're sort of like a mid-range brand for me, and I enjoy using their brushes. They're a great synthetic. They're really nice and soft, and so those are something that I use. I really think that the only thing that was a bust for me was that lash curler, and that's okay. Like I said, it didn't do horribly. It just didn't perform as well as something that I would usually care for. So hopefully this Boxycharm unboxing was helpful to you guys, and I'd love to know if you picked up a tip or trick or two. I always just like sharing what works for me in my makeup application. And if you're going to try out any of these, let me know. How are you enjoying your Boxycharm this month? If you don't have Boxycharm yet, I will put my link in the description bar below. That is a referral link, so I do get a small, I think it's like points credit off of it, so you don't feel like you have to use that. You can certainly just go to boxycharm.com, but if you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video, and I'll see you soon.